Welcome to the Ohio River Valley District 2014 Grant Training Webinar. I'm Doug Johns, the Assistant to the District Superintendent. I'm glad that you're able to join us for this webinar. The vision you have, the dreams that we've been given by God, are God's visions and God's dreams. And God will keep you to understand all the details of the plan. And He will help you to move forward to their fulfillment. God will not forsake you or fail you, but we have to be sure that we don't forsake God. Be sure as you begin this grant writing process to ask for God's guidance through prayer. As you put together your ministry plan and this grant application, may God anoint you with His wisdom and with His vision. The policy and decision-making body in the Ohio River District is the Mission Foundation. It's a board comprised of 21 volunteers, 8 clergy, and 13 lay members. In addition, the district superintendent and the assistant to the district superintendent are ex officio members without vote. It is the Mission Foundation that will make the final decision on all grant requests. Prior to going to the Mission Foundation for action, all grant requests are reviewed by the District Strategy Committee, and their recommendations are then forwarded to the Mission Foundation for action. We'll talk more about the role of the District Strategy Committee later on. The Ohio River Valley District is blessed to have received generous gifts from individuals over the years. Those gifts have been carefully invested, and the earnings on them are available to fund these grants. The bulk of the grants, however, are funded with the Ohio River Valley Mission Foundation apportionments that are remitted by all our churches. $273,750 is available for grants in 2015. Of that, approximately $15,000 will go to youth mission trips or spiritual development grants. $40,000 will go to Hispanic ministries, $100,000 to agencies and organizations, and the balance to local church grants. All of our grant forms can be found on the district website, www.orvumc.org. Once you're on the website, you'll find a banner across the top of the page directly below the water image. Click on Resources. A listing of related pages will appear on the right-hand side of the page. Click on Grants. The grant page will appear. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. There are 6 documents related to our grant process that you will need to print off. You can do this by clicking on the name of the form. Your computer may ask you if you want to open the document. Select Open, and then print the document as you would print any other document. Take a moment and print those documents now. The grant training post-test is not a requirement for this year. Projects for which churches are seeking funding must relate to one of the 5 fruitful practices. Agencies and organizations do not need to relate their project to one of the fruitful practices, although certainly you're free to do so if there's one that fits the project that you have in mind. Definitely uplift that. The 5 fruitful practices are radical hospitality, passionate worship, intentional faith development, risk-taking mission and service, and extravagant generosity. You'll find descriptions of each practice in the document on the website. Over the past 7 years, the District Strategy Committee has worked diligently to refine and perfect the grant application process. We know that this may seem overwhelming, and we have made changes each year to the forms to make them more streamlined and user-friendly. It is not uncommon for us to receive in excess of 50 individual grant applications each year, and oftentimes the amount of funding requests exceeds the funding available by 200% to 300%. In order to make the best decision possible and to be good stewards of the funds that individuals left to the care of the district and make use as good stewards of the apportionment dollars entrusted to us by our churches in the district, The committee has developed criteria and requirements to aid in reviewing grant requests. These criteria, requirements, and even the questions on the application form itself are designed to help you not only write the best grant application possible, but also to be in the position to launch a successful ministry or a successful project. They are intended to be tools to help your ministry succeed. Each grant request, whether a church or an organization, may apply for up to 2 grants with a combined total not to exceed $25,000. So each grant request must be for a specific project. Grants are not there to augment the local church receipts or general income of an agency so that general operating expenses may be met. They should be specific to a ministry or project. The project for which you are applying funding for needs to have a concise statement of vision, mission, and leadership necessary for it to be successful. Please tell us what you hope to do, why you hope to do it, and what leadership needs to be in place to make it happen. If you can't tell us that information quickly and succinctly, how will you recruit support from your members or support from the community or other partners? A timeline is critical for any project. Your timeline needs to include implementation and evaluation, not just the big event. One thing the committee looks for is the what's next step. How will you connect with your target beyond this ministry or this event? There is an expectation that the church will have in place a plan to financially integrate the project into the overall church budget in the years ahead. It doesn't have to be fully supported by the church right away, but there must be a plan to move forward. The district will not fund more than 75% of the cost of a project. It is our expectation that the church will fund at least 25% from their general budget. This 25% does not include funding from the partners, grants, or in kind donations. It is money specifically budgeted for the project and ministry by the church. It can include what the church or the organization pays for increased utilities, for paper, if you can document how you determined that figure. On the grant application form, question number 6 applies only to churches. Organizations and or agencies may skip this question. Churches, you must be paying 100% of all apportionments or have a written plan to reach 100% of apportionment payment within 3 years. We require that you complete the grid on question number 6 so that everyone involved with the grant knows how your church is doing with payment on apportionments. After all, the majority of the grant funding comes from churches paying their apportionments. To find your apportionment payment history, go to the West Ohio Conference website, www.westohioumc.org, and click on Stewardship and Finance. On the secondary navigation bar, you'll see Connectional Giving. Click there. Next, click on Connectional Reporting. First, you'll see the current year report. Choose the most recent. Once you click on the month, you'll get a report that looks like this. This is the report for the entire conference, and it is sorted by district. Scroll through the report until you come to the Ohio River Valley, and then find your church. The churches are alphabetical. To see prior years, simply scroll down and select the report from December of that year. Also available is a report that details apportionment payment history as well as membership, attendance, giving, expenses for each church in our district for 1990 to 2012. We have placed this report on our website, www.orvumc.org. Select Resources, select Forms and Documents, scroll down, select 1990 to 2012 Stats. Click on Open. Make certain you maximize the spreadsheet so that you can see the titles of the tabs, and then go to the tab marked Graphs and enter your church number without dashes. Enter your church number in the yellow box. Once you put the number in and hit enter, the spreadsheet will automatically be populated with your church data. The District Strategy Committee receives an abbreviated version of this information for each church that is applying for a grant. They look at membership trends, worship attendance, giving, expenses. If you know that the trends have had a significant shift, please tell us the story behind the numbers. It will be helpful for you to include an explanation in the narrative section at the end of the application. The committee wants to know that the church is aware of these situations and is addressing them. Our churches need to take time to do honest assessment of the current realities and then draft plans to change what needs to be changed in their church. These next two slides show you just a glimpse of what all is on this spreadsheet. You can also use the data that is on the yearly tabs to see how your church compares to others. We value partnerships, and we expect each church, organization, or agency to be in partnership with at least one other church, organization, or agency. A church can partner with an organization, an agency, a school. Question 20 on the grant application is where you will list those churches, agencies, and organizations that will be partnering with you in this project or this ministry for which you are requesting funding. Partners do not have to be United Methodists. Although nice, it's not necessary. Partners can include Free Store Food Bank, Whiz Kids, local merchants, schools, uh, other agencies in your community. One of the things that the committee looks for when making funding recommendations is, does the project enhance the momentum of the church or the organization? Does it move their ministry forward? Please note that there are very limited opportunities for funding of staff positions. In order to be considered for funding of staff positions, you must be able to demonstrate that you will be able to assume the full responsibility for funding that staff position at least over the next 3 years. We don't want to put you in a position of having to let someone go because there wasn't a plan to assume the responsibilities of the financial responsibilities of that staff position. Please also note that we do not give grants to purchase vehicles. The requirements that have been compiled by the District Strategy Committee serve to make the application process more manageable once you turn everything in. Remember, these individuals are reviewing in excess of 40 grants. Applications must be typed. We will not accept handwritten applications. If you've ever spent time trying to read the handwriting of someone you know how hard that can be. Shoot, sometimes it's hard enough to read my own handwriting. The application form has the questions enclosed in boxes. Please do not type in those boxes. Each question either has lines or a blank space for your reply. Use those spaces. Please do not type in bold, do not type in all caps, and do not underline every word. That makes your application very difficult to read. If you'd like to share a picture or two, please just put them at the back of the application packet. Do not embed them in the application. And 2 pictures is more than enough to share. We scan all the documents for each grant and put them on a secure web page for the committee to download. So we're very aware of file size and pictures will gobble up that file. The first page of the actual application is the checklist. This is your friend. Use it to be certain your packet is complete. The images from the checklist and request form are from a prior year. The only changes to the 2015 forms are to insert current dates. Incomplete packets will not be considered for funding. If there are items on the checklist that do not apply to your request, for instance, the project or ministry did not exist in 2013 or 2014, so you don't have actual income or expense figures for those years, simply put NA in those boxes. Note that you need to return a copy of the completed checklist with your packet. That's how we will know what to look for in your packet. Let's start looking at some of the questions on the application, and let me help you get a sense of what the committee is looking for. Question number one really is as simple as it sounds. We just want to know what you're calling the project or what the ministry is. We're not looking for your vision or a description of the ministry here, just a name so we all know we're looking at the same grant. Question number two is where you begin to introduce the objective of the project. This should only be a 2 to 3 sentences. You'll have more opportunity later to expand on your vision. Question number three, how much funding are you requesting from the district for this project in 2015? It should be one figure, not the project budget, not an explanation of each cost, just the total you're requesting. Question number four is where you'll provide the total budgeted cost of this project, excluding any in-kind donations. It's the cash cost, including what you're requesting from the district. Let me tell you up front, if you can't come up with that figure, the committee will most likely have some hard questions for you around whether or not you're ready to launch. How can you be ready to launch if you don't know what it's going to cost? And remember, you have to fund 25% of the project or the ministry. So if you don't have good numbers, how do we know that what you're requesting doesn't exceed 75% of the cost? Again, this is just one figure. Question number 7 tells us where the ministry and project is located. Our district covers 5 counties, and in some cases, the ministry may not be in the county where the church is physically located. Question number 9 is referring to funding for this project or any support you receive from denominational challenges other than local churches. If you have questions on whether or not certain funding falls into this category, please call the Ohio River Valley District. The West Ohio Conference Office may be able to help you determine if there might be additional denominational funding available for your church or agency. Whenever you are asked to provide data, please use specific figures and write goals as specific, measurable targets. Saying something like, we want to increase the number of children participating in our weekday after school program is not specific or measurable. Saying we want to have an average of 50 children in our children's weekday after school program by the end of 2014 school year is better, but it would be even more helpful to say something like, we would like to grow the average number of children participating in our weekday after school program from 15 to 25 by the end of the 2014 school year. That helps the committee see what work is ahead of you and helps them better understand the resources required to meet that goal. We ask that you research the demographics of the community in which you'll be doing ministry. And the best part is, you can access the demographic information at no cost. It's paid for with apportionment funds. Once you have gone to the website, which I'll show you in just a minute, print off the reports you'd like read or you'd like to include, read them, and then summarize them as your answer to question number 10. Please do not embed the reports into the application or include them as an attachment. We want your summary. What we're looking for is a few sentences that say something like the neighborhood is 45% Hispanic, 15% Asian, 20% African American, and 20% Caucasian. The median income is, you fill in the blank. We want a summary of the report. So here's how you get the report. You go to www.missioninsight.org and click on registration information. Click register. The agency account number for the West Ohio Conference is SSQUJ. It's printed in question number 10. Type that in and click submit. Next, select the city. There's a handy drop down list of cities, so if you're not sure, just scroll through until you find the closest one to your church. Then plug in your church name, and then complete the information to make you the user. Once you are registered and signed on, you get options. You can choose any of the options on the list. Let's take a look at the second option. Create a demographic report using the report wizard. Here I've entered the address of a church. If your ministry is not taking place at your church, enter the actual address where the ministry will be based. I've also selected a 2-mile radius. The maximum radius is 15 miles. There are 4 different levels of reports, with more detail in as you move down the list. For today, I've selected the Quick Insight, and then I've opted to have that as a PDF link. Here's the first page of the report. It shows me the area covered in the 2-mile radius. The next page, which you are not going to embed into the application or attach to the application, but you're going to summarize, the next pages give me an overview of education, ethnicity, age, household income, and so forth. You'll use this information found in the report to answer question 10. Your grant application needs to clearly articulate how this ministry will change lives within your church or within the organization or agency, how you'll engage the community in the project, and what comes next. Note that for questions 11 through 19, your answers are limited to 50 words or less for each question. So when you answer question number 11, don't waste words repeating what you've already stated in questions 1 and 2. Tell us something you haven't been able to share yet. Many of the questions on the application relate to the goals you have set for this ministry. Over the past 7 years, this has probably been the weakest area in all of the grant applications. We just hate to commit to specific numbers. When we are specific in our expectations, we have a much greater chance of accomplishing our goal. I'm a list maker. I find that my day is much more organized and focused when I start with a to-do list. Now, I don't get to every item on the list every day, but it's easier for me to get back on track when the list is there and when I have to wonder what else I'm doing next. Specifics are always helpful. Goals have to be measurable. Otherwise, how do you, the church, your board, your partners, and us, the District Strategy Committee and Mission Foundation, know that you've reached the goal? Here's my other tip about measurable goals. You need to make certain everyone is measuring the same data in the same way. Make sure everyone is measuring the same things in the same way. What makes a goal attainable? Pre-planning and continual evaluation as you move towards the goal. What's working, what's not. Don't be afraid to make modifications to how you're pursuing the goal. The objective is to reach the goal, to reach out and transform people's lives, making disciples of Jesus Christ. Is the goal realistic? Are you not only able to work towards it, but willing to? We in the church often get trapped thinking we have to do it all alone. Oh, we do not. Find those individuals who are gifted in areas that you aren't and work together. Make the goal realistic, engage others, and fulfill that which you're trying to accomplish. Goals need to be timely and tangible. We need deadlines. Without a deadline, we don't feel an urgency to move forward. When goals have tangible outcomes, it's easier to get our church members, our boards, our partners excited about what's happening because now they can see it, hear it, taste, touch, smell it, and it's real and they want to be a part of it. Question 12 is designed to help you articulate the church or the organization's strengths and weaknesses in the area for which you are requesting funding. Do you fully understand your current situation? What are you doing well in this area, and how can you build on that? What areas are a challenge to you? What will you need to move beyond those challenges? What are your plans to grow new, younger leaders? Who are you grooming to continue not just this ministry or this program, but the full scope of ministry of the organization or the church? How are you recruiting, training, and deploying new leaders? Question 18 requires that you've thought through the very real possibility that you may not be able to fully receive the funds requested, that we may not be able to fully fund your request. What happens then? Churches and organizations and agencies must have ongoing funding plans. In the church, we call them stewardship plans. We ask that you share with us your plans to sustain your ministry financially. Please be sure to indicate when your church last completed a stewardship or generous givers program. If you're struggling in this area, feel free to contact Reverend George Cooper, the Executive Director of the Council on Development at the West Ohio Conference Office. Believe it or not, the application is designed to give the committee a quick overview of your request. If there are still things that you need to share, you may attach an optional narrative. Remember, this is an option. These committee members are reading a lot of paper. To make the most of that narrative, do not summarize what you've already said. Take advantage of this time, this space, to tell us something unique to your project or your ministry, or something that didn't fit in any of the other questions. Remember also that you don't need to fill the 2 pages aloud. Only use what you need to. Budgets are a must, as are 2013 actual income and expenses and 2014 year-to-date actual income and expenses. We are looking for both church or organization budgets and actual income expense figures and project budgets, actual income expense figures. Budgets must include income. Again, do not embed budgets and financial statements into the application, but put them at the back of the packet. Remember that the examples on the slide are from a prior year. Follow the date instructions on the request form. If you haven't finalized your 2015 budget, use your best estimate. If you're to the point of asking for money for a grant, you must have a sense that you'll be able to afford it and your other programs as well. Are you anticipating a 1% increase in giving? Are you cutting costs by 5%? Estimate your 2015 budget. The goal is for the committee to see how this project fits into your overall funding. Do not include in-kind donations as income or expenses. We are looking for a cash budget. For the overall church or organization budget, we do not need a line item report. Use broad categories. For the project budget and reports, more detail is required so that we can have a better understanding of the funding request. Who is to be our main contact? Give us all the ways we can possibly reach you. Once the grants are received in our office, they are assigned a primary reader from the district strategy committee, and that person will be contacting you to learn more about your request. They will be your advocate at the table, and they need to talk to you. We require original signatures. The script font is not a signature. The reason we ask for these signatures is so that we know there's support for the project. For a church, at the very least, the pastor, the ad board chair, council chair, finance chair, and trustee chair, or the equivalent in your structure, must sign the form. If you have someone else who is leading this ministry, then they should also sign. And if there's a significant partner in the ministry, then a representative from that organization should sign. We have moved away from accepting email or faxed grant documents, as the data makes it hard to submit those in one email or one fax, and then we don't really know if we have everything. So, one complete hard copy of all documents must be received in our office by 4:00 p.m. on August 11th, 2014. If you are mailing it instead of physically bringing it to the office, If you are mailing it by U.S. mail, it must be mailed so that it arrives at the district office by the deadline, 4 o'clock, August 11th, 2014. Since we scan these documents, please do not use any staples, paper clips, binder clips. Please do not bind your grant request, in a folder or binder or anything else. Just bring it to the district office or mail it to the district office. Please do make sure that all documents are single-sided. I know it's another treat. When some of the documents are single-sided and some are double-sided, it's easy for us to miss a page in the scanning. Just put your entire packet in an envelope and either mail it or drop it off at the district office. So what happens once we get your packet? A cover sheet for each grant is created. Then we scan each request and put it on our secure web page. Grants are assigned to primary and secondary readers. The primary reader will contact you. If by the second week of September you have not heard from your primary reader, please call the district office so that we can see if perhaps the email went to their spam or a phone message got lost. On October 6th, the Strategy Committee will have an all-day meeting to review all requests and make their recommendations to the Mission Foundation. No information on their recommendation will be released, as the Mission Foundation has the right to change that recommendation. The Mission Foundation will meet on October 28th to act on the grants. Prior to that meeting, they will have received the minutes from the District Strategy Committee meeting and will have access to the grants on the secure site. Notifications of the Mission Foundation's decisions will be mailed no later than November 10th. It is very helpful if you wait for that to arrive rather than calling the office, as the letters will include information regarding how the grant will be dispersed and any conditions attached to your grant. Every grant recipient must complete a mid-year evaluation and an end-of-the-year evaluation. This is where you'll report how close to your goals you came. You'll share information on actual income and expenses related to the project, and we pray you'll have great news to share with us about individuals making a commitment to Christ as a result of being involved in this ministry or project. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact the district office. May God bless you as you strive to pursue this grant and the funding for your particular ministry or project. You're in my prayers as you partner with God to bring his kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven.